Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Sainath Lambade. Today, we are going to study the chapter Control and Coordination. Can you recall what is the need for control and coordination in multicellular animals? So, why it is essential or why it is necessary that control and coordination? As we all know that we are the human beings, are multicellular organisms. As you know that our body is made up of millions of cells, and these many cells will come together and will form the tissue, and when many tissues will come together and form the organ, and many organs will come together and will form the organ system. As all you know that various life processes like breathing, like circulation, like digestion, all these life processes which are working continuously in our body. So to carry out all these life processes, there is very essential of having the control and coordination. As you know that we are having the presence of many organs in our body. As a as example for you, that is like a heart, lungs, kidneys, stomach, brain. All these are organs are present in the human body, and to have the control and coordination in all these organ while performing, there is a essential of control and coordination. So we'll see the some introductory part, that is as we know that unicellular organisms have the simple organization of life processes. As all you know that the single celled organisms are known as a unicellular, and they show a very simple organization. However, a multicellular organization of the body organs and organ systems require both control over their life processes as well as coordination between various systems in order to maintain the homeostasis of the organism. Homeostasis means to maintain the temperature in the human body. As you all know that our body is maintaining the temperature as there is increase in the external environment temperature, or to maintain the whatever the biochemical balance in the body, or to maintain the pH, or to maintain the blood pressure. All this is controlled by the body, that is called as a homeostasis. Example, that is to maintain the simple example, that is to maintain the body temperature. Plants and animals both show a control and coordination mechanism. As you know that all the plants and animals also shows the control and coordination. As plants, you show the while in the different stages, they show the growth, they show the movements also, movement from one place only, they show the movement towards the light also. As we'll see some example brings a various movements, example like that is first one is the phototropic movement, having a tendency to move in response to the light. Plants all the time is having the tendency to move or response towards the light, because with the help of the light they carry out the photosynthesis. As another one is the chemotactic, substances that stimulate the cellular locomotion or migration, for example that formalin peptide. And another one is the thigmotactic, movement of an organism towards or away from any object that provides a mechanical stimulus. Thigmotactic means a movement of an organism towards or away from the object that provides a mechanical stimulus. Another slide we'll see that. Has another slide where we will see this, that is control and coordination is carried out with the help of two things, that is the nervous system and another one is the endocrine system. Action of nervous system are mediated through the neurons, as all you know that neurons is the structural and functional unit of our nervous system, and these actions are carried out quickly. Quick means of actions are carried out by the neurons. And another one is the endocrine system. That action of endocrine system are little bit slow and are mediated through hormones. Mediated through hormones. As all you know that hormones are the chemical messengers. As in our body, there are many glands. That glands are known as the endocrine gland, and these endocrine glands are going to be secrete the hormones for the various purposes, like the development of the physical development of the body as well as mental development of the body. We will see in next lecture about that. Again, second point, that is evolution of nervous system. While studying this, how do the nervous system has been evolved, we have to know that first of all. So we'll see from the very lower phylum to the higher phylum, from the invertebrates to the vertebrates. So phylum first, I have taken that porifera. The example is the sponges. The example is sponges. As in the sponges, neurons are absent. Sponges are not having the presence of neurons. Means if there is not a presence of neurons, they are not having the nervous system. Directly you know that. But still sponges respond to the external environment. If they are not having the presence of neuron, but they are also responding to the external environment. But with the help of what? They are responding because they are having the presence of pinacocytes, cells of outer body wall, and are highly contractile. And these pinacocytes are highly contractile. They can contract all these sponges and also having a capability to relax. This can increase or decrease overall the surface of the sponge's body. This is having the capability of contraction, then that can be increase or decrease the surface of the sponge's body. Another phylum, that is Cnidaria. In this Cnidaria, we are going to study about the Hydra. We are going to study about the Hydra. And Hydra is the first animal in the course of evolution which shows a beginning of nervous system. Which shows a beginning of nervous system. Neurons of Hydra are very simple. Now, in this Cnidaria family, we are going to study about the animal that is a Hydra, and Hydra shows the presence of nervous system. Means in the Hydra there is having the presence of neurons. Neuron cells are present in the Hydra, but these neuron cells are very simple cells. They are very simple and they are a polarized neuron. They are a polarized neuron, and Hydra has neuron but no brain. Hydra is having the presence of neuron, but that is not having the formation of brain in the Hydra. So you see the diagram of the Hydra, and in Hydra there is having the presence of nerve net. There is having the presence of nerve net. This network like structure is present in the body of the Hydra, that is known as a nerve net, and you see the diagram of this Hydra. Another slide I will show you. another phylum that we are going to study, that is actually Platyhelminthes. So this phylum Platyhelminthes, platy means what? Platy means flat and helminthes means worm. There are the two examples of Platyhelminthes, that is a flatworm and tapeworm. As I have taken the example of planaria, shows the beginning of cephalization. Cephalization means a head formation. There is a having a showing a head formation in the planaria. So you see the diagram of this planaria. First of all, I have drawn this planaria. See that eye spots are present, and side to that there is having the formation of brain. Again, there is also having the presence of transverse nerve. There is having the presence of transverse nerve. So while seeing this planaria, that you are seeing that ladder type nervous system is present. How is this nervous system? Ladder type. Ladder type means you may know that in Marathi like that you can call it like a शिडी सारखं आहे nervous system कशी पायऱ्यासारखी आहे step like that ladder type that is shown in the planaria. So another example we are going to study about the Annelida. In Annelida, that example is the earthworm. The example is earthworm, and this earthworm and leech. So while studying this, there is a double ventral nerve cord with a cerebral ganglia. Double ventral nerve. As you see this brain, there are having the two, and they are present at the ventral, which are viewing from the upper side. That upper side view is known as a ventral nerve cord with a cerebral ganglia. Cerebral means all the part of the brain, and ganglion means a collection of cell bodies or neurons. When many neurons will come together, and that neuron will form a ganglia. As you see the example of this Annelida, that is we have taken that leech, and you see the ventral nerve cords which are seen from the upper side and segmental ganglia. Point, you are going to see that ganglias are present. Then again we will see the another slide, that is last one. In this video, this another phylum, that is a mollusca. As all you know, this mollusca are having a very soft body. That example of this mollusca, we have taken that octopus. Among the invertebrates, octopus has highly developed brain. In invertebrates, if you compare that, and in that invertebrate, octopus has a well developed brain. And you are seeing the squid mollusca, and see that brain is going to be formed in this squid, and you are seeing that diagram that are having the presence of this one thing I have written, but that are the ganglion. That are the ganglion which are present in this octopus. Then another last example, that is echinoderma. This echinodermata, that is we have taken the example, that is a starfish. The starfish are also known as bottom developers, or they are found at the bottom of the ocean. There is no brain. There is no brain, but a circummoral ring of nerve with a radial nerve is present. As you are watching this diagram of the starfish, you are seeing the spoke like this radial nerve. These are the radial nerve which are mainly present in the starfish, and this is a rounded form nerve ring which is mainly present in that particular starfish. So in course of evolution of nervous system, we have taken from the very smaller phylum Porifera till we have came to the Echinodermata. That example is the starfish. As was what we have watched in this. So first we have got that increase in the degree of civilization. Means as we are seeing this all the phylum, we are seeing that there is an increase in the degree of civilization means head formation. And another thing, increase in the number of interneurons. Increase in the number of interneurons. This nervous which connect to the two neurons. Means interneurons means what? These two neurons are connected. That is also known as a associated neuron, or that is also known as a intermediate neuron. Thank you for this session. We'll stop here. Okay.